Hi, welcome to Do It Yourself. Today we're going to be making boho wall hangings similar to this. Yours won't look exactly the same because that's where your creativity comes in. Let's look at what's in your kit and then we'll get started. Kits are pretty simple this time. You have 3 hopefully coordinating colors of yarn and an 18-inch dowel. In addition to those supplies, you will need a pair of sharp scissors that will cut yarn. And then we have some optional supplies that can be helpful while you're cutting the yarn or at the end when we're trimming everything up. Some painter's tape, some masking tape, something like that. And then a ruler, a measuring tape, a yardstick. If you don't have this, I'm going to show you how to cut your yarn to the right length using your dowel rod. Okay, I'm going to get started cutting the yarn. Okay, so you have your 3 colors of yarn, and you're going to want to decide which ones you want to be your accent color, and which ones you want to start with. So for me, I'm going to choose the blue as my accent color, so I'm going to put that aside for now. And I think I'm going to start with the tan. So I'll put my cream aside for now. We're just going to cut 1 skein at a time so that we can cut and then do something and then cut and then do something so that we're not just cutting. So I'm going to show you first how to measure using the dowel rod. So your dowel rod is 18 inches and we want to cut the yarn about 38 inches. It does not need to be exact, but approximate. So here we have the dowel rod. I have my yarn laid out like this. But I'm going to pull it down just a little bit so that I have a little bit of yarn past the dowel rod. And then at this end, I'm going to hold the yarn, double it over, and pull it down, and then I'm going to cut it right there. So now I have 1 piece that is approximately 38 inches. Now I can use this to cut the rest of my yarn. The other way you can do this is if you have someone to help you, you can loop the yarn back and forth between you, just making sure that you're approximately 38 inches apart and then cut at each end. Or if you have a doorknob or something like that to loop it over, you can do it that way too. I'm going to get my yarn cut and then we'll meet you back here. Okay, so I have my yarn all cut, just the 1 skein, and I have my dowel propped up. I just used a couple boxes and taped the dowel at each end so that I can work over it and underneath it. You can just hold it in your lap, but it is helpful to prop it up on something like this. So to start, take 1 piece and make the ends pretty even. And then you're going to take the looped end, put it over the dowel rod, reach through the loop, grab those strands, and pull it through so that it looks like this. Move that out of the way, and I'll do it again so that you can see that. You can just push this over to the side. So grab another strand, make the ends pretty even, take your looped end, put it over the top of the dowel rod, reach through, grab those strings and pull them through the loop. and gently pull them. Now you have two. This dowel red's not quite as smooth as my last one was. Okay, so you just want to make sure you can go underneath, and you can go underneath and pull it through this way if that's easier for you. And then it's going to look like this on the side. It doesn't matter which way you do it, as long as you are consistent, working the same way all the way across. So just whatever is easier for you. You just don't want to switch back and forth. So go ahead and do all of this color, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I have all of the tan done on here. The next thing I'm going to do is split it in half. Just approximate, doesn't have to be exact unless you really want to sit there and count them. And I'm just going to move half on this side and half on this side. So I'm going to be working in this space next. I'm going to take my blue next, which is my accent color. So this is where you need your accent color. And I did forget to tell you one thing that is helpful is a book, paperback size, regular paperback size, or something similar. Maybe like a DVD case or a game or something this size will also work. Okay, so with my accent color, the first thing I did was cut a piece, the 38 inches approximately. I'm going to put that aside for a second. Grab my yarn here. Put it on the edge of my book and go around 10 times. So one time is coming back to where you're holding it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to cut it right there. And then slide it off the book, holding onto that looped end so that your cut ends hang down. You're going to take that long piece that you cut and fold it in half. Put your loop through your loops like this. Reach through the loop of this. Grab the strings. And pull it tight so that it's connected. Then you're going to take your scissors down here at the bottom of the loop and just cut those. Then you're going to cut a smaller piece of the same color, your little tassel. Go about a fingernail or so. First joining your finger down and start wrapping it around about 10 times. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 6. And then just tie that off. Make it kind of tight there so it doesn't slip around. And then you can either trim those little bits off or just put them down in your tassel. So now we have a nice tassel. We're going to put that aside for now. If you want to make one or two more, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, just the one tassel, we're going to put that aside. And then you're going to cut the rest of your yarn approximately at 38 inches. I'm going to cut my yarn and meet you back here. Okay, I have all of my blue cut, so I'm going to put all of that here in the center. This is the accent color. I'll do that again, over the top, through the loop, grab those strands, pull it through. I'm going to do all of this here in the center. The next one you're going to do is your third color, and you are going to cut all of this into your strands of approximately 38 inches. Go ahead and cut this, and I'll meet you back here. I have all of my next color cut, and I'm going to pull out about 30 strands. So go ahead and do that. And then we're going to put the rest of it here in the center, just like we did with all of this. So pull out 30 strands and then put the rest on here. Meet you back here. Okay, I have all of my white done. So I have all three colors. I'm going to choose where is about the center. So approximately right there. Just move them aside a little bit to make a space. I'm going to go back in and take my tassel and do the same thing. So I'm going to put it in half over the top, reach through the loop, pull it through, pull your tassel through also. And then you can adjust this if you want to, but for now we're just going to leave the length. When we're hanging it up, it'll look different. I'm just going to push those back together. Now we're going to do these 30 strands that you took out. So split them up into two groups of 15. And then you're going to hang them so that you have them in half. We're going to split. I'm going to split mine the center of my blue. Push them aside right there. Take your loop, put it over the top, reach through it and grab all of those strands and pull them through. And then tighten that up. I'm going to move this back a little bit so that you can see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to split this up into 3 sections of 10. So I have 3 sections of 10. Then I'm just going to start braiding it loosely. So the outside goes over the center, drop it, outside over the center, drop it. Outside over the center, just keep doing that. The outside one goes over the center one, alternating. Don't make your braid too tight, keep it nice and loose, and just braid it all the way down. Okay, so when you have about this much left, you want to stop. You're going to take one of these, just one of these strands here, go all the way around the braid, your finger in there, around the braid. When you get back around, tuck it through that loop from the top and pull it tight. And then that piece can just go back down with your other ones. And now you have a finished off braid. Push these back together again, like that. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing over here with this blue. So just push these apart. Take my other section of white, fold it in half, put that whole loop over the top, reach through, grab all of those white strands, pull them through the loop, and then tighten it. Separate them into three sections of 10. And then start loosely braiding. The outside goes over the center, outside over the center. Remember, not too tight, keep it fairly loose. Don't want to make it too tight because that just won't go with the style of the casual boho hanging. And just keep braiding until you get to approximately the same length as your other one. And then we'll tie it off again. Almost. Oh, that's about right. I'm just going to take one of these strands from the outside, wrap it around the braid, keeping my finger in there. Tuck it through that loop from the top and pull it tight. By tucking it through from the top, it hangs down and blends in while keeping your braid sealed. So I forgot to leave one strand for my holder, so I'm just going to take one of my strands of tan off the end. Just going to pull it off here. So here's my tan string. I'll pull this off of my boxes. I can show you how to finish the ends. So we're going to kind of do the same thing. Fold your strand in half. Take your loop, go around, over the top, grab, pull it through, now if you have a little bit of hot glue, you can put a little hot glue there to keep that in place, but I have not had any trouble with mine. I'm going to take this side over here. And this side, I'm just gonna, you don't want to pull it super tight. You want to leave a little bit of space here. So I'm just gonna knot this side. And then, like I said, a little hot glue there. You can trim these little ends if you want to. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and hang this and show you the final finishing step. Okay, so I hung this up on my wall so that I can see how it's hanging. You can also do this laying on the table, but if you have the opportunity to hang it up, it's a little bit easier to do it this way because you can see how gravity is going to pull the yarn. I'm going to take a couple pieces of my painter's tape just to hold this in place so it's not tilting on me. This is the part where your painter's tape can cut in handy, or you can just eyeball it. This is the trimming part. So I suggest that you start small and cut off little bits at a time, because you can always trim off more, but you cannot put it back on. So you don't want to cut off too much. It's kind of like bangs. You don't want to cut off all your bangs real short all at once. Just kind of put a piece of tape where you want your triangle to start. Put mine straight. Let's put it straight. There we go. And then on this side, same place. Then I'm also going to mark the center, which the tassel has conveniently marked for me. And then I lied because we're actually going to take this down real quick. Use your painter's tape to just mark off a triangle. And then hang that back up. Just make sure that you're hanging it straight so that you don't have a crooked hanging. My pieces of tape back in place. And then I'm going to start trimming. start trimming at the bottom of the tape. Just following that tape line. Alternatively, you can just trim it straight across. If this feels like too much for you, just trim it straight across. It'll look nice. I'm just going to trim these just a little bit so that they're not right at the bottom. And then finally, I'm going to trim my tassel in just a little bit of a V shape. Just clean it up a little bit if you have ones that you missed or that are sticking way out. You have some like bald looking spots. Just push your yarn a little bit closer together. Just kind of finger comb the strands in place. And there you go. You can take off all your painter's tape. And there you have it. Nice V, lovely wall hanging, tassels, accents. If you want to, you can put some beads or pom-poms or something on it. It's up to you. So that's it. I hope that you enjoyed your finished project. I'd love to see pictures of them. Please email me some pictures of your finished project at info@trpld.org or tag us on social media. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter. Search for us at Three Rivers Library and go ahead and tag us or hashtag TRPLD. We want to see what you do. I picked out all those colors that I hope coordinated. I would love to see what you make with them. In the meantime, enjoy your lovely wall hanging and happy crafting. We'll see you next time.